Hello everybody, I'm SJM, and this is Storybrook Brawl. It's a new card game auto battler that I've been playing a lot recently. Really seem to like it, although as my luck is wont to do in all card games and or auto battlers, it seems to be doesn't like me so much. But that's beside the point. I'm here to tell you what it's all about in this episode, and then you can make up your mind whether or not you want to give it a try for now. It is in early beta release right now, so or early public beta. So things will still be changing, so what you see today may not be the same as what's implemented in the future or by release even. So right now, just two modes to choose from. Play Brawl, which you play against other players and you acquire rank. And then so the ranking system basically goes from like a apprentice and then squire, and then at 1,000 points then I would go up to the next level, and so on and so forth, up the ladder that way. We have Dust here, collect 4,000 to unlock a new hero. So for your free-to-play options, this is the only way to get new characters or new heroes to play. But you do get to choose from quite a few different ones if you want to just stay completely free to play. Although it doesn't hurt to spend this dust as you get it, unless you're waiting for a new character. So if there's a new character going to be released soon and you want to save up for it, then that's probably the only reason to save it. But otherwise, you know, when you get up to 4K, then you buy yourself a new hero. This is your pay-to-win currency here. So you purchase gems in the shop, and then 100 gems unlocks a new hero, much the same as doing the fairy dust way there. And then crowns are bragging rights just for the brawls that you've actually won. So in the last 4 days that I've been playing, I did manage to get 3 wins. So, you know, sometimes lucky, but never not enough, in my opinion. So that's the play tab there. So the 2 play options just for now is the only thing that we have at the moment. In the collection here, you can come in and you can scroll through. There's all of the heroes. You start on the heroes page. There's 32 at the moment, which exactly supports an 8-player game or match. So you get to choose. You get 4 options to choose from, and we'll see that when we get into the play round. And then each person gets 4, so that's 4 times 8, 32. All of the characters, so these are all of the cards in the game. You get presented these randomly, much in the way of any auto battlers. If you're used to Hearthstone Battlegrounds, or even you compare it to Teamfight Tactics or Auto Chess, where there's just random choices that you get to choose from, and then you spend your gold, which you get each turn, to buy the cards and place them on your battlefield, and then you go into the battle portion of it to do that. Treasures you get when you collect 3, sometimes 2 of a certain character, and you combine them together to make a stronger unit. Then you get presented with a treasure of that unit's value. So they go from 2 all the way up to 6. So as you saw, the characters went from 2 to 6. Same with the treasures. There are treasures that don't show in the catalog here that are tier 7. So you can get those through a couple of different game mechanics in the game. And then the spells, so along with the characters in each shop, you get some spells that you can cast that all have different effects on either gameplay, your shop selection, etc., etc. Then we'll just flip over here to the pay-to-win page there, so you can buy gems, and then there's early access supporters, and then a whale supporter pack as well, although that's, super value if you want to go up to buy the supporter packs there, as opposed to just buying the gems individually. But let's just jump on into one of these, and we're going to go into the practice mode because I don't want to get tied down by the timer while I'm trying to explain things to you. So normally we'll get presented with you will always get presented with 4 different heroes to choose from, and then they've got their different abilities there. So if I played as Beauty, my monster characters would be classified as good, so good would be a character trait, and they would have +2/+2. Monsters isn't a super big tribe, but there are a fair number of them spread throughout the whole thing, so there are varying things. So Mrs. Claus, all good characters would have +1/+1. And then over here are the two pay-to-win options. I've already collected 4,000 dust, and I've actually unlocked Sad Dracula as an option, so I can choose him here because he was presented to me. But that's not always the case. So I'll see Sad Dracula, 1 every 8 rounds or something like that, whatever the odds actually are. But usually when I see him, I get him because he is one of the best. Just underwent a small nerf just in the last day, but hasn't truly diminished the power of the character that much. And then Potion Master, I don't have this one unlocked yet, but if I wanted to, I could spend 4,000 dust or 100 gold. See, when you click on that, it's asking me to pay for it before I can play with it. But I don't have it, and for this playthrough, let's play with Slay is a little bit more complicated mechanic, so let's just go with something a little bit more basic for the tutorial aspect of this playthrough. So we're going to choose Mrs. Claus, and then we'll go to our first round shop. So we start at level 2, and we start with 2 gold. And this, the amount of gold you get each round will go up by 1 until you hit 12 at a cap, although 12 isn't the maximum amount of gold you can have at any one time, because you can earn gold through your battling in different ways. I've seen it, 24, 30 gold. There's a treasure that gives you more gold than you could ever spend. I haven't seen what that amount is, but apparently it's truly ridiculous and it lives up to its name. But here we got 3 choices. So the Sherwood Sure Shot is a ranged character, so that means that when this character attacks, it doesn't get hit back in battle. So it will shoot an arrow or whatever kind of projectile you have at the enemy, and won't take retaliation damage, whereas a normal battling character, like the Cinderella here, will just go smash on smash with the other character for 2 damage, and it'll do 2 damage to its character, and it'll take whatever amount back. So say if it hit this baby dragon, it would get hit for 2, and the dragon would hit it for 3. They would mutually annihilate each other. And then in the shop here, this is our 1 spell, which says give an evil character +1/+1 permanently. So I wouldn't be able to cast this on any of these characters because this one is a princess mage, this one is a dragon, and this one is a good princess. Just a note on the mechanic on this one, flying allows this creature to attack the back row first. So it won't attack the front row, which you have 4 characters in the front row, and then 3 in the back row. So if there is back row characters there, which is typically where you put your weaker characters that have support abilities on the front row characters, so it can be valuable in tactically taking out one of the back row characters that's making your front row character nigh invincible or super powerful. So for the purposes of this one, we are going to grab a good character because we are playing with Mrs. Claus. So normally this character would be just a 1/2, but because of our passive ability, good characters have +1/+1, and this is a good princess. She has 3/2. So we'll pick her, and we will go into the brawl. We're facing off against Jack's Giant. I guess I forgot to mention over here, this is our 8 opponents over on the sidebar here. So we're playing against Grandmother, Mordred, Ella, me, Merlin, Krampus, the Fates, and Jack's Giants. And in the practice brawl, it's just all bots. So you don't have to worry about playing against human players and human intelligence, so to speak. So in this shop, we do have another good character I can spy here, but we'll just go over quickly. The Black Cat has the ability Last Breath, which means when it dies, it does something. That something is summon a 1/1 cat. So effectively, this gets you 2 1/1 cats. This is the Rainbow Unicorn, which as a passive buff gives my other good characters +1 health. That can be really useful in some early game situations, but late game that's not so exciting. And then this Wizard's Familiar is an animal mage, so it doesn't have a good or evil classification, but it counts as an animal and as a mage for other cards that care about that. When you cast a spell, gain +1/+1 permanently. And this round, because I have 3 gold, and I'm level 2, so the only options I get are the 2 gold options, I will be able to cast this one casting spell. So in this configuration here, I could take the Wizard's Familiar, put it in my bar, and then cast this spell on it, so it would become a 2/2 from getting the spell, and then from its passive ability it would gain another +1/+1, so it would become a 3/3 for the first battle, and then if I win that round, then I would, or that brawl, so round, we would get a bonus. That bonus would become permanent after that. But in my case here, I'm going to take the donkey. He's not a donkey, he's a unicorn, but that is what it is. Makes my sure shot a slightly more powerful, and then we're going to power up our sure shot just a little bit more. A note that our characters attack in order from left to right and front to back, so my rainbow unicorn will attack first, and it attacks randomly in the opposite first row. So a little bit unlucky that he went first and high rolled onto my princess mage, but I won the battle, so I get to keep that, or my sure shot, so I do get to keep the bonus that I got on that one there. So from here on out, things will be a little bit more I'm not going to explain things as much, just to point out here, this is where our supports come in. So if I took the baby root here and I put him in my back row there, support means he gives bonuses to the characters in front of it, so it would give +3 health to both my unicorn and my sure shot, and he's getting a +1 health bonus from being a good character, which my unicorn affects, and +1/+1 from Mrs. Claus. So I'm getting quite a bit of bonuses out of this guy. But this guy is actually pretty powerful as well, but I just have to pick another princess to go with him. So I'm actually going to do that. We've got 4 gold in this shop here, so we can probably pick up 2 characters, which is usually your best option. Sometimes there's a 2-cost spell there that you might want to go for, but I typically just try to get as big of a battling board as possible to go there. So I'm going to pick him up. I don't have another princess to grab here, so I am just going to grab this support guy. And I'm going to put him here just to kind of buff up my 2 weaker characters, because he's already pretty beefy already. So we'll just let this all play out, because we don't do anything in this phase of the game. And there we go. We won the battle again. We do damage to the other character. We haven't lost any health points yet. We start at 40 with the exception of the grandmother, who starts at 50. So now that we've reached level 3, we'll start seeing tier 3 creatures in the shop. I kind of want to keep on with the princess theme, so I'm going to actually grab another lonely prince here. So now I've got 2. If I see another one, then he will actually upgrade. But I do want to look for a princess now to get these guys transformed and buffed up. So I'm going to roll the shop over, which we don't see anything, but I do see a nice juicy spell here, which is 0, gets me a free roll. So we're going to roll again and hope for a princess this time. I do see a princess here, but he's just one too much money for me to get. So what I can do is I can sell one of my characters back. Generally not the best strategy to do, but in a pinch, I think this does add enough oomph to my board, because these guys are going to both turn into 5/5s and give me a lot bigger presence on the board. So I am going to sell my baby root to get the 1 gold to get up to 3, and then grab this princess here. This is actually a really good ability on a creature as well, where it has Slay +1 XP. So when it kills an enemy, I will get +1 experience. Because it takes 3 experience to go up a level, you can really turbocharge your character by getting extra experience from this character. And there are some spells that give you experience as well, such as the Turkish Delight here. As you can see here, my Charming Princes just basically kicked butt as the Ugly Frogs and just opened a can of whoop butt on my opponent. So this shop doesn't have much to offer us here. It's got an animal here which, if it survives the brawl, I get 2 gold, but if it gets killed, my opponent gets 2 gold, or 1 gold. So that's not such a good thing in a multiplayer environment unless you have a super strong team, and then in which case you can kind of put him in your last slot so he doesn't get into too many battles, or if you've got some really good supports that buff him up really good, that it might be another strategy for you there as well. So let's roll this shop again, continue on looking for princes and princesses. We're not seeing any here just yet. So this spell gives a monster +3/+3 permanently, and you can see if I wanted to try and cast this spell, nothing highlights, and it won't actually let me target anything because I don't have any monsters. So a little bit unfortunate there. But among all of these, the stag isn't too bad. It's a good animal, and it gives characters behind it +3/+3 after it attacks. I might just pick that up for now and put my ranged character in the back here so she doesn't get attacked in the first round. She'll get a chance to do her attack afterwards. Then I have 2 gold here, so I have 2 different options for strategy in this position. I could click on the re-roll to see if there's something comes up in the shop. Even if I can't afford it, I can hit this button which locks the choices in. So the next round these would appear back automatically. The other option is I could buy this 2 gold creature here with, just putting it in, because I do have an empty space on my board, just gives me another creature to attack with, and might get lucky and win because of that selection. And then later on down the road, I can sell it back to the shop for 1 gold. So I lose 1 gold automatically, but this 2 gold never refreshes anyway. So if I don't spend it, I don't get it back. There is a treasure that will help you out with that, but we're just going to ignore that for now. And then just put him into our comp for this battle, and then we can sell him later and get a bonus out of it. So he had 2 good supports there, giving him a lot of firepower on the front line, but once we got his front line broken down, we actually ended up cleaning up at the end. So the name of the game in the, obviously in the mid-game here, is we want to look to get triples put together so that we can get some treasures going over here. So I see another adventurer girl here, so we're going to pick that up in case we see another one of her and we can triple her up. And I don't see anything else that I'm going to go, because I'm not going to go down this Labyrinth Minotaur thing because he gives other evil characters in my comp +1 attack, but I don't have any other evil characters, and I'm looking at a good strategy anyways, so it's not a good thing to spend the 2 to pick him up just to maybe match him up to get a 2-cost treasure. It's just, that's probably not the direction that we want to go to. So we do see that we found our 3rd Lonely Prince. Even though these guys are transformed and he is not, when I pick him up and put him into my slot, it will upgrade, and then we'll get a choice of treasures. So these are pretty random, and there is a pool of them, so if you're in a multiplayer game, somebody gets picked a choice of something that would really help your team and they take it, you'll never see it again. Speaking of that spending gold thing, so we've got the piggy bank over here where extra gold carries over from turn to turn. That can be helpful in some situations. But generally, it's once you get used to the game and used to reading knowing what the cards do just by looking at them quickly, you can spend all of your cash every round pretty quickly. Wild growth, when we lock our shop with this button here, if there's a treant creature there, the next round, its health will get doubled, and that's a permanent buff. Treants are actually one of the most powerful tribes in there, so I'm actually going to pick this up and see, might do a mid-game shift to a treant strategy, even though most of the treants are actually evil. The third option here, our dragons have +5/+5. We've seen a dragon, but we didn't take it early, and there's only 3 dragons in the game, so this is, unless you're already on the dragons, this is not a strong choice off such. So we're going to go with the wild growth. The fourth option that we have is that we can pass on the treasure, and we get 2 gold if we do that, but I'm just going to take the wild growth here for now. And skip over. I don't see anything here that I want. I do have an empty space in my comp and 1 guy down in my base thing, so I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to leave my weaker characters attacking last, because if I get down to the nitty-gritty and there's just like one, you know, like say 0-3 sitting in the back row and just these guys here, I get to farm a bit of experience that way. So it's a way that we could get an advantage there. I don't see any treants in here, so it's not a great idea to try and pick them up, so we're just going to brawl. So I've been rolling on the good princes and princesses so far, but I do see a treant here starting. These guys typically characterized by low attack, high health, but once you get to know how the game is, it's pretty easy to start buffing up their attack and getting them pretty powerful towards the end game here. So what I am going to do is I'm going to pull my evil monster out, and I'm going to get this treant going into there. I could pick this guy up and go up to 43 health and get an extra experience point out of it, but I'd rather kind of look through the shop here to see if I can't find anything. If I was going to stay on the good princes and princesses role, the fairy godmother might be a good choice there. But I haven't seen any of the premium 3 slots yet. I've just basically got a bunch of these mediocre 2s, and this is definitely, it's a powerful 3-drop, but not something that we want to continue with towards the end of the game unless we got them buffed up in a super way. So I'm gonna do a mid-game shift here over into my treants, and we'll see we've found another one here right away, actually 2. So what I'm going to do here is I've got 3 gold. I've got an option here to give a good character +1/+1 permanently, which I'm going to use on my prince. I think he's going to be a little bit more useful into like the latter half of the mid game, but I'll definitely be getting rid of him soon. And then I'm going to lock this shop and double these guys' health. If I didn't have this quest, I would actually have sold my Minotaur, which would have brought me up to 4 gold, and I could pick up the second broccoli, but for now we're just going to do that. And go to battle. So his ability there, when he survives damages, he gains +10 health, so or +10 attacks. So he's survived 2 attacks, and now he's a super big monster. Now we can see he was a 0.15, now he's a 0.30 and can take a lot more hits. And then this guy is a treant support, so he only supports treant characters, but that's not a problem because we're going to be putting him behind our 2 Brocks. So I'm going to move my Froggy over to position 1. I'm going to keep Brocky here. We're going to take the Elder to drop down there. Now I've got this option here, which is the end, devour a character to gain 1 XP. So I can either sell back one of these guys for 1 gold and then eat one of the other ones and then get an extra XP, which will take me to 2 out of 3 to get to 5. So that's actually a pretty good strategy because I'm not planning on using that Minotaur. And this unicorn has outlived its usefulness, so we're going to eat it. And then we gain 1 more XP. That means after the next battle, we will be level 5. No treants in here, so I'm not going to be locking that shop, and we're going to brawl. So this treant support kicked in at the beginning of the brawl, which gave both of these guys +1, +2. So a little bit extra health for them, and a little bit of health or attack, but those are going up each time that they get into a tussle. And this is the kind of character that Broccoli just absolutely farms, where you're spitting out all these tiny little cats and things like that. Just they get super huge by the end of the game if all goes according to plan. Alright, so no treants in here, and the spell is uninteresting for us, so we're going to roll. And this will happen quite a bit, where you just get onto a stage where you don't even find any more characters that are good for you. But in this one, we've actually gotten a little bit lucky. We've got a great spell here. This is probably the best spell in the game to get early in your shop search, because you get +1 gold, which is just automatically gets you a free reroll if you need it, or if you need the extra cash just to buy a character. And you can cast another spell if something more powerful appears later. And of course we found our triple adventurer now, so there we go. We get 3, definitely mediocre. If I was playing with dwarves, which is another strong tribe, that would be a great pickup. If I was playing the little Dracula guy that gives all my characters in the front row the slay ability, this would be just like one of the best 3-drops, but we're not in that situation here, so it's just absolutely super mediocre, because the only thing it would affect would be our adventurer here. So the choice in this one is the Ring of Revenge, which means that one of my front row characters get killed, then the characters behind it. So if the prince died, then only the Sherwood Sure Shot would get it. If the stag dies, both of these characters would get it. Similarly for this one, both of these, and this one, just this guy. So we've got 6 more. We definitely want to pick up our double of this Heartwood Elder. The alternate is we are level 5 now, so we could start looking for level 5 treants. And this Heartwood Elder is pretty mediocre as far as the treants go. But because this is a practice brawl and the opponents aren't that savvy, I'm just going to keep going with this, taking it a little bit slower and easier. And then with the 2 gold, let's search for more treants so that we can lock the shop and get the bonus health if possible. The other thing that we just popped up is another useful 0-cost spell, because we're not going to have any gold to spend it on anything else, so we're just going to grab that right away. It'll give our adventurer +1, +1. It'll give our treant here another +1, +1. But we'll just re-roll that and hope for a treant. We don't see one, so off to fight. So no treants here. A pretty useful spell here, but ultimately it's not that powerful, giving all of my characters. If our shop was full back here, and there's other situational things that might be a little bit more powerful, but in this situation, that's a no. Siren's interesting, but I'm just going to try to go all in on the trees because it's fun. So Rotten Apple Tree here. Pretty good pickup. This guy, you just have to get him a little bit of attack on him, and then whenever anything, if you get one attack on him, whenever anything attacks into him, it'll kill it pretty much automatically. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap Brock over to there, take the stag out, get our apple rotten tree in there, which means at the beginning of the next round he will get +1/+0 from this guy. And actually, let's slot that in there. We're going to get rid of that super mediocre sure shot now. Just taking this for the random chance, keeping this guy in my comp just for the random chance that we actually get the extra experience. And then this one, we could grab this right now, get 1 XP, go up to 6, but then I wouldn't have any gold to spend on any rerolls to find tier 6 characters, so it's not worth it just now. We're going to keep rolling and hope we hit another treant somewhere along the road here. Oh, and here's a treant spell, so we may as well use this one. Permanent +6 health. So let's throw that one onto... There's probably a correct choice here, but especially seeing as how it's a practice brawl, it's probably not going to matter very much. So we found a second rotten apple tree here, so let's lock this one in. He'll double himself up next round, and that's it for this one. As we start knocking off characters, they don't get to actively choose what they do in battle, but you can actually end up fighting them if you've got an odd number. See how we've only got 5 people in the shop? One of these characters will be fighting against one of the dead characters. So there's our 0-30 apple tree. Even though this guy's gotten a couple of attack from that last round, I'm going to get the one that's got the bigger butt for now. And we will start looking for more trees. And or good spells, of course, too, if something shows up over there. So there's a tree, but use the baby root at the low end of the scale, and we don't need any buffs to our back ends at this time because they've all pretty thick at this point. Here's another premium treant. He's got a 20 on his back end, but what he will do is he will buff all of the attack of all of our treants by his health. So great pickup there. We just need to find 2 gold, which we've got some garbage characters to sell off here. Pick him up, throw him into our comp somewhere. Goodbye, adventurer. We're already level 6, so she's useless now. We wouldn't get any benefit from her actually slaying anything anymore. And we'll just go into this. This should be pretty quick through the rest of the rounds here. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, not explain too much more, but yeah, this one's pretty much over. Can't imagine that I will lose any battles from this point forward against the AI. It can happen. There are spells that can kind of ruin your entire comp, but I doubt that'll happen enough times in a row for me to go from 40 to 0. That guy's a mage, so we're not interested. So this guy's a treant, but we're not at this stage of the game. He's pretty low impact at this point. I could get him and replace my frog there, but getting +1 attack as for each time we take damage, as opposed to just getting 20 in one shot from this guy, you can see that he's getting pretty outclassed at this point. So we found our third one of those guys, so that gets us another chance at a good treasure. So +3 gold, but our shop stops selling spells. We're not doing a lot of spells right now, but it just kind of would give us an option for more rerolls, but there are very powerful spells at tier 6, so we don't want to do that. +3 attack in the front row, and then level 2 and 3 characters in the shop are upgraded. We're not interested in level 2 and 3 characters at all, so this is pretty much the only choice. It gives us a small buff, nothing super special by any stretch of the imagination. And now we can get a second apple tree into our comp here. And we will move Froggy back to the back row. Go looking. This guy's interesting because he's an evil monster that does things for evil things, and most treants are evil. And in fact, so this guy isn't here, so these two aren't, and the Pumpkin King would be replacing the prince anyways. So not super interesting, so we'll just leave that around because we get random lower level evil characters. So, and at this point anyways, if we see a treant, we're just going to be locking the shop and improving his defense anyways. So there is a good spell here. This can actually, randomly hit something in your opponent's composition that ties it all together and supercharges it. So that's one of those catch-up mechanics that I talked about earlier, where just picking that and getting high rolling on it can totally ruin your enemy's plan. But I'm going to skip on that for now. There is one treant in this shop, but that's probably the worst of all of them. Arguably, I guess, but that's, just not something that we need to discuss in this video. So opponent's got an apple tree, but hopefully we get the correct one attacking into it. So no, we didn't. We missed it by 1 point of damage. So you can see there, even though this character is a ranged character, when he attacked the apple tree, even though he wasn't melee attacking it, even the ranged attack will give you that thing. So there's one of the biggest, baddest trees of them all, Echo Wood. Basically, when this guy gives plus attack, so plus 20 attack to all the trees, every tree that he affects will get... the Echo Wood will get it again. So this guy is going to be immense in the next round. So this is really glad that I actually hit on him this time around. So let's look for something else useful in here. There's another treant, but this guy is a little bit on the weaker side for the tier 6 treants. He can be useful, but as far as the tier 6 guys, he's pretty lackluster, to be honest. Just kind of looking to see if we can't grab another triple along the way, but this will be a nice combo with our Ashwood Elm, because he gives plus 10 health as a support, which means that all of my treants would be getting plus 30 health. So we're going to lock that one in and go fight. So just watch Echo. Yeah, 144. And then each time the Brocks go up, he takes even more. I've seen Echo Wood with over 1,500 attack. Wasn't my game, but yeah, I've seen that. So almost up to 200 on that one. Not too bad, but yeah, with this composition, it's not going to be anything super special. I'm going to pull out one Brock. Move this tree over this way. Put that guy up there. Put him there. So now all my treants will be getting plus 30, which will make our Echo even bigger as well. We just, at this point, we're just lacking a way to get a lot more health on the Echo Wood, but I'm not super concerned about that in any capacity. Even if I was in a player-on-player one, here's another one of those, like I said, those catch-up spells that can really swing the game if you get if you high roll on it onto one of the enemy characters. And then we got another Green Knight there, so we can lock that one in. And if the next battle is not gonna, next battle will be the end of this tutorial. So yeah, that's it for the introduction to this great little game that I've been playing. I think it's super cute with all the fairy tale type aspect of it. The designers, the devs of it are very versed in Magic the Gathering and a couple other games. I'm not 100% sure who's in on it, but that's just from what I've heard and seen from other videos and watching other streamers out there. So if you're interested in something like that, card games in general or auto battlers and then a mixture of the two, because I had been looking at getting into an auto battler myself. Oh, and you actually do get dust from going into the practice rounds, so you can grind your way through some of these practice rounds to get up some dust there so that you can buy extra characters. But yeah, like I was saying, that is it for this one. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one.